Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Guidance by Tova Podcast. It is me, Tova, back again for another episode, as these are weekly episodes. So this week, the topic that I would like to discuss is something that I have a lot of experience with and something that I have struggled with very frequently. And I've learned some things about this that I would like to pass on to you. So what is it? It is how to get out of a quote-unquote funk. So a funk essentially is an energetic block. So you might also kind of characterize this as like a depressive episode, but I want to try to stay away from like mental health terms because I'm not a mental health professional. But you could call it that if you felt so inclined. So the first thing that I would like to address is that it's really difficult once you are in like a certain negative mindset and your body has kind of gotten involved in like the weird bad feeling that you're feeling. It's pretty difficult to get yourself to get out of it. I do want to address that it's definitely not an easy thing to do, but there are many lines of attack, I guess, that you can take to be able to try to kind of break through the wall of sadness or anger or whatever it is. Anxiety is a big one for me. So the first thing that I would encourage is to just allow yourself to feel whatever it is that's causing the issue. Like if you feel kind of like numbed out, or you're just like laying around and you kind of feel weird and feel bad, but you don't necessarily like have any like it's not like a very strong emotion. You just kind of feel weird and bad. What I would encourage you to do is like whatever it is that's bothering you, and you might not know at first, you might have to think about it, but there's going to be some underlying thing that's bothering you. I encourage you to seek that out, and I also encourage you to just allow yourself to feel like whatever emotion is going to come through. And that can be really uncomfortable. But what that's going to do is it's going to like start like the flow of like, you know, this emotional energy out of your body. And it's going to help you can visualize it as kind of like flushing out like the weird, bad feeling that you're feeling. And after you've had like maybe like a good cry or something like that, that's typically what does it for me. Or maybe you have to kind of get mad or like punch a pillow or something, you know, if it's like an anger sort of situation. After you've done that, what you're going to want to do next is pretty much go into like self-care mode. And what I mean by that is the first thing that you are going to want to do is like immediately drink like 2 large cups of water. Just get water in your body, because if you're dehydrated, it's going to halt like whatever progress you're trying to make with getting out of this quote unquote funk. So drink some water, try to eat some food. These are like very basic human necessity type things, but if you've been in like a weird dark place for like a day, 2 days, something like that, you just have to like, you know, after you've like let the emotion like, you know, come through, you're going to want to make sure that you're taking care of like your basic human needs. So that's water, food, and also hygiene. So like if you haven't showered today, shower. Like, and if you can't bring yourself to shower, then like splash some cold water on your face, on the back of your neck, like take like a cold washcloth and put it like on your forehead. Stuff like that is going to make you feel like, even if you're doing it for yourself, what it's going to do is it's going to make you feel like you're taken care of, and it's going to make you feel just like a crumb of positivity, a crumb of love, basically. And that can be really difficult to do, because if you're in a bad way, then you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't deserve XYZ. You're probably having all kinds of like irrational thoughts. Not to say that like they're invalid, of course. I've been there. So I totally get it. But my point is water, food, some level of hygiene, brushing your teeth, stuff like that. Another thing that I actually forgot that's kind of in the realm of hygiene is like smelling things that smell good also helps. It helps to like get your physical senses like attuned to something different, which brings me to the point of changing something about your immediate environment. So if you have been in a funk and you are, you've been surrounded by like the same cup of water that's been sitting next to your bed for 2 days, or you've been wearing the same clothes, all day, or like for, since yesterday or something, change it. Like put the cup in the dishwasher or whatever, or like put it in the sink, change your clothes, anything. Like light a candle, light some incense, burn some sage if you have some sage. That really helps. Because it signals to your body that like, oh, we're doing something different now. And what you're going to notice is that you're going to feel a little bit of a resistance to doing that. But after you get started doing it, you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel at this juncture, a little bit, at least. If you're really feeling up to it, and most people I feel like aren't, especially if you're in a really bad way, is like try to clean something in your immediate environment, like change the sheets on your bed, wipe off a countertop, do a load of laundry, something like that. That honestly really helps, because it adjusts the energy of your immediate environment, of your living space, of your dwelling, of your home, to be just a little bit more on like a higher vibration. Very important step after you've taken care of like your physical body. So basically what we're doing this whole process is like we're taking like the negative feeling that's been like stewing and brewing within your body, and we're energetically letting it out, and then we're expanding our level of control over our environment from our physical body to our immediate home environment, the room we're in, your apartment, your house, whatever. It's kind of like an unfurling of like, if you imagine just like reaching your arms out. And that actually brings me to my next point, which is after you've done that, try to get like a little bit of fresh air. I recommend that like if people can't like go for a walk, or otherwise, like if you're not feeling like up to like putting on clothes to like go and potentially be seen by other human beings, open some windows. Open enough windows to get like some type of a breeze coming in, or like so you can at least like smell like the fresh air like coming through your living space. What that is going to do is that's going to help, again, with this like idea of like flushing out like the negative stagnant energy. If you can visualize it like that, it's just like moving it around so it can be flushed out or expelled in some capacity. So what we're really doing at this point is we're trying to like make things not only different but more comfortable, because what you're going to notice is when you start going against the feeling of resistance and like taking this action toward like making these just little changes, what you're going to notice is that it's going to instantly feel a lot more comfortable. Because what we tend to do sometimes when we're in a funk is we will think that we're really comfortable, and you'll kind of get like that, like, I don't want to move my body feeling. And that's kind of what happens when you end up like laying in bed all day, which has happened to me many times. What you're going to notice is that you will actually start to feel, oh, I'm actually feeling a lot more comfortable now than I was. And that's a very important, like, turning point. I would say that if you can make it that far, you did it. Awesome. Like, you totally made it happen. You've put yourself in a better position, like, for the rest of whatever, the rest of your day, the rest of your night. Even if you can't do any of this until, like, right before, like, you were maybe supposed to, like, actually go to sleep, it's still worth it, 100%. Like, even if you didn't shower all day and you're sad and you couldn't get out of bed, but, like, you got to go back to bed so you can wake up and go to work the next morning or whatever. Like, even if you just wake up and, even if you just get out of bed and, do, like, these just, like, one or two small things to change your environment and, like, let the negative energy, like, out of your body and out of your space, you will succeed. Like, you will get yourself out of the weird stagnant feeling, at least enough to matter. If you have the time and the energy, the next thing that I recommend doing is devoting a piece of your time to someone else. So this can be calling a family member, or texting a family member, texting a close friend. And what you're going to do when you do this is you're not going to say, oh, I'm having such a bad day, comfort me, family member or friend. No, because what we've already done up till this point is we've comforted ourselves. We've made this happen for ourselves. We're at a place where, like, okay, we want some connection, but we don't need somebody else to fix the situation for us. And that's huge, because it can feel really tempting to just ask somebody to help you, like, get through it. But when you do these steps to get through it yourself, that the level of, like, empowerment that you're going to feel is essential to, like, your growth, essential to maintaining positive and healthy relationships in your life. It's really worth it. So I encourage you to wait to talk to somebody until you do the previous steps. But once you've done the previous steps, see if you can get yourself to talk to somebody else. And what you're going to do, either if you text them or call them or whatever, hit them up on the internet in some capacity, what you're going to do is you're going to ask them about their day. You're going to want to ask them how they're doing. Because what that is going to do for you is it's going to get your mind off of how you've been feeling and whatever it is that's bothering you. And what you're going to do instead is you're going to be giving to somebody else. And that is a very, I think, underestimated healing act for not just yourself, but for somebody else. So ask a family member how their day is going. Text your friend and ask them how their weekend was. Something like that. Because that will get you the genuine, kind connection that you're looking for, because you've probably been lonely. And a lot of times it's loneliness, and self-isolating that gets people into these situations, this quote-unquote funk situation that we're talking about. Also, animals are very helpful friends when stuff like this happens. So if you can't bring yourself to talk to somebody, if you have a pet, then you can definitely, like, if you have a dog or a cat or something like that, give them some attention. I have a cat. I actually have 2 cats nowadays. When I'm sad, my cat is really, really good about, like, staying close to me and, like, staying, like, at my bedside and stuff. And she always wants to be around me, and she knows when I'm not feeling well. So if you have a pet like that, like, interact with them in a way that, like, whatever your special relationship is with your pet, whether, your pet likes to be snuggled or your pet likes to play or your pet likes to have a treat. Do something like that, because that is another, if you can't bring yourself to talk to a person, that is something that's going to be like giving to something else. And if you don't have any pets, water your plants. Go water your plants, touch the leaves of your plants. I've done that many times, and that is actually really helpful, because plants are energetic beings too. Plants are alive, and feeling like you're taking care of something else a lot of times can help you feel not only like you have control over, the actions that you're taking in your life, but also that you are doing something positive and that you're contributing. And these are things that are healing activities. We want to do the opposite of self-isolating. We want to do the opposite of not moving our bodies. You know what I mean? Those are pretty much all of like the main lines of defense or of action or whatever that I have taken that have helped me. After you've done all of those things, you're probably feeling better at this point, and you're probably going to be all right. There's one other thing that you can do. This is the hardest thing to do, and that is to directly address the problem or the trigger that was bothering you. For example, I get really upset when the things that I own get damaged a little bit. Like, even if they're not broken, like if something gets a little bit damaged, like it really bothers me, and it kind of like sends me into a weird bad mood. So for me, kind of what I have to do is I have to rationalize, like, okay, this thing is no longer pristine and perfect. It's been damaged. It is what it is. I can't change it now. What I can do is feel some sense of like honor for like the object that was damaged, or sometimes I'll like apologize to it. That might be weird, but I'm kind of weird about that kind of thing. I think because of some stuff that happened to me when I was a child, and there were like some things that I owned that were damaged, and it really upset me. So like that's just something that kind of like is a trigger for me. So you might have something like that. If you know a way to deal with whatever that is, or if there's an action that you can take that will help resolve whatever that is, I would recommend just going ahead and doing that, because what that's going to do is it's going to completely energetically close off the whole funk that you were in. The whole problem is just going to be resolved. And you have to lead up to that point, because you don't want to force yourself to do something that you're just not in like the right state of mind to do at that point, unless you absolutely have to. Sometimes you have to, but in like our modern, world and era and time period, the sort of thing that I'm talking about is like pretty minor life issues that oftentimes tend to be blown out of proportion and are absolutely like triggers for us to like go into a weird energetic blockage time period. And the more that we practice to take care of our bodies and take care of like our immediate environment and like exercise control over ourselves and over like the pieces of our lives that we can control, like that is healing us, and it's training us to understand that and practice what I would say is a pretty essential life skill that I think that we're not directly taught very often. So having been through so many of these experiences, I wanted to share this with you so that whenever you're in a difficult time, maybe you can listen to this and work through it like I have and keep practicing it, because you're not going to feel good all the time. You're going to feel bad sometimes. And there's ways that you can take control and bring yourself back to at least like a baseline. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that a lot of times when you get into a funk or a rut or whatever, there's some guilt there. Maybe like during like your self-isolating sad time period, you like maybe like, I don't know, ignored a text and you felt bad, or you didn't do something that you said that you were going to do and you feel bad. And it's really important to exercise a level of self-forgiveness when stuff like that happens. Then you can take the action to make it right. And you can take that action from a place of, like, not feeling like this horrible, like, crushing guilt. You can take the action from a place of, okay, I forgive myself for, not doing something or ignoring something or whatever it is. And then you can resolve the problem, basically, from a higher vibrational place, instead of from a place of, oh, I hope I didn't make anybody mad. Imagine, like, crawling up to somebody with your hands in, like, a praying position, being like, oh, please forgive me. You won't have to do that because you already forgave yourself. And that's kind of another conversation, the whole self-forgiveness thing. Maybe we can do another show on that. But I think that is an important step, too. It's kind of like last week's podcast where I was talking about throwing yourself the little victory party after you've dealt with the past thing. And you can go back and listen to that other show, because it's kind of the same concept. It's like whenever you're dealing with a negative thing and you're transmuting it, you want to inject something positive. You want to, like, have... You want to do the opposite in order to level it out. That concept can pretty much just be, like, utilized across the board, and you can get as creative as you want with it, really, whatever works for you. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this week. And, so I hope that this helps. Check my Instagram for the most activity from me. Check out my Patreon. There's some stuff on there. I said I wasn't going to shill, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I do have. I also, this past week, I put a couple of videos on my YouTube channel. I did a video about the new moon last week, and you can check out what my perspective was on that. I think I said a couple of things that not a lot of people said. If you didn't see another astrologer, like, talk about, like, the Mars-Pluto square that's happening on Monday, which is probably about when you're listening to this, I would definitely take a look at what I said in my video, and you can find all the links to everything on my Instagram. It's instagram.com/guidance by Tova. So keep an eye out for some tarot content from me. I've been trying to figure out a good setup for filming in my current space. There's a couple of different areas that I could do videos at, so I've kind of just been, like, deciding and testing some things out. So hopefully pretty soon I'll have actual, like, tarot reading content. So yes, keep an eye out for that, and hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you next Sunday evening for another show.